Throughout the land of model railroading, you will come across these community-based shows that clubs will display and run their railroads. Sellers will bring their treasures, which you may find what you've been looking for.
The local guys come out and sell what they have. They keep the hobby going. They buy and sell and trade. You see everybody, it's kind of like family. It's kind of cool, man. It's neat.
You will also be surprised that you may find something not even looking for it. What's on the rails? Your community model railroad show. No matter where you live or visit, you may not be far from a locally sponsored model railroad show that has their annual show not far from where you are staying. Some of these shows are at times underestimated of keeping the hobby active and prosperous. Even to some modelers, there are perceptions that they are inferior or even outdated with their items and their technology. That has been indicative to a dying hobby in this day and age.
And then we bring stuff from the warehouse, bring it to the shows, depending on what we think will sell. And we'll bring that box and we'll bring the next box. We never know what we're going to have.
It's a cool little show. This is true America. Tiny little shows like this. The local guys come out and sell what they have. They keep the hobby going. They buy and sell and trade. You see everybody, it's kind of like family. It's kind of cool, man. It's neat.
Yeah, so Brian Edge kept encouraging me, get a table, only $25. You can't go wrong. You have plenty to sell. And it was true. I mean, I had so much stuff that I know I'm not going to use for my own layout, and it's just there, and it's in the way. So, but there's a way. I always got what I wanted because I was willing to get rid of things that I don't need, that I know I'm not going to keep, and it's just going to be clutter. To be a modeler, I'm a filmmaker. Now I'm a vendor. Whenever a chance I can be a vendor. It's a wonderful blend, and I think in this day and age of model railroading, it's good to have all those three. To have those three skills. I mean, if you're really looking for really high quality model railroading, trains, accessories, there's always something that you're going to have that you're really not going to use, and maybe someone else could use it, and it's usually the case. So I think a lot of model railroaders are doing that more, where they know that they're not going to use an item, a building, a structure. There's always somebody out there that's looking for that item, that specific locomotive, building, boxcar, caboose, track, and there's money in it. If you do your budgeting right, you'll be able to get anything you want. If one is looking for something very expensive, by doing it this way, somewhat of a trade, doing sale, you can get anything you want. You could always get what you would always want in this hobby. This is a great way of doing it. Riley Inch found me these. These are spine cars, 4 of them from McKean Models, very rare, for only $15. the Eastern Maine Model Railroad Club at Jeff's Catering and Brewer. That was my first community club-based show. And I try and get there yearly. Seeing some of these creations that were made by modelers in this area in Maine that really moved me, because I'm so used to seeing beautiful stuff that you see in magazines or on YouTube or somewhere else in the social media. And here they are, and here are these modelers that are really doing great work, and it's real, and they're no different than anybody else, and you get the feeling that, well, if they can do it, I can probably do it too, in some fashion, right?
Tage Erickson. I'm the president of the Seacoast Division of the National Model Railroad Association. And we're here in Brewer, Maine today at a local train show sponsored by the Eastern Maine Model Railroad Club. They're one of our group club members that's part of our Seacoast Division. What we have here is just a simple display of the different scales of model railroading using the state of Maine products, boxcars, which were very popular with the Bangor and Aroostook Railroad. The largest one we have is G scale. Most of these are used outdoors in garden railways, and the next scale, smaller scale, is O scale. This was the most popular scale at one time, many years ago, and made famous by the Lionel manufacturer. The next scale lower than that is S scale. This was made popular by A.C. Gilbert with American Flyer. And then we have our standard HO scale, which is, HO is supposed to be half O. HO is by far the most popular scale in model railroading today. I'd just guess that 75% of all model railroaders model in HO scale. The Seacoast Division is part of the National Model Railroad Association. When you join NMRA, if you live in New Hampshire or Maine, you automatically become a member of the Seacoast Division. There's plenty of modeling expertise and people to answer questions, and it's just a lot of good camaraderie and good fun. And we have, at each meeting, we have our clinics, and we have discussion groups. Most modelers are people who are my age. They're retired folks, older folks, and our hobby is getting older. And we do what we can to try and recruit younger members, but railroading is not what it used to be here in New England especially, and it's difficult. So, as the population grows older, the modeling industry grows older as well. Not to say that there aren't still a lot of folks out there who are interested. There certainly are, and we just try and keep that alive. And it's good fun. It's good camaraderie. We have a lot of members who have their own layouts, and a lot of them are very skilled. They've been in the business a long time and modeling their whole lives, and they have a wealth of information and tips on how to do things and save time while you're doing them.
Last spring, I was able to arrive at another Lions Club hosted show in Hooksett, New Hampshire, throughout the David R. Carley Middle School.
This is our 24th year. It all started by one of our members being an enthusiast. He said, we can raise some money if I have a train show. He started the first one and he ran it for a few years, and then we've grown since then. And we've moved our venue from another school to this school, so it's been growing every year. So we're one of the larger ones in the state right now.
So at first I seen some of the items that, you know, what people tend to claim as old school junk, obsolete, typical as is, model railroad stuff that has turned away the potential enthusiast and on and on. But as I pursued down the halls and the sights began to look much more vast and impressive,
actually, from year to year, we bring the same people, a lot of the same people back in. We email them the registration. We have flyers that go out to prior shows, and the word gets out. And if you have a good show, they keep coming back. And this year we've had about 40 vendors and about 12 or 15 clubs with displays. So it feeds itself and grows on its own as long as you give it a good product. And good show. This is our major fundraiser for the club. We raise money for charitable organization that we are. We raise money to use it wherever needed here in our town for the needy, and we help buy glasses and eye care for those in need. So every dollar we bring in, it's the Lions tradition, but every dollar we bring in from the public goes back out to the charitable organization as a charitable fund. So everything is that's our main reason for being here, really, to raise money keep our organization going.
the Pepperell Siding Model Railroad Club, based in Pepperell, Massachusetts, displays their very engaging and detailed modular layout at several New England model railroad shows. I do hope to meet these members again soon, and I would love to ask them, how do they decide what modulars they choose to bring, and how do they set it up so quickly for these community shows?
Week from Memorial Day to Columbus Day. As you know, we're always bringing out brand new used equipment, you know, always rolling out of the barn.
Model railroad vendor Steve Ruma gave me some insights on being a vendor at the show.
I've been in business probably for about 25, 30 years, buying and selling HO gauge trains. We do a multiple number of shows per year on the East Coast. We do about 25 to 28 shows overall each year. As far south as Virginia, as far west as Ohio. It's trending, downward over the last maybe 4 or 5 years. Due to the fact that the economy, price increases on all our merchandise. I mean, years ago when we were kids, we were buying at them blue box for $1.98. Nowadays, a box costs you $29 to $35 just for starters. So it puts a cramp on everybody. Not everybody has resources enough to go out, buy all that. Buy all the stuff. The stuff is very, very, very expensive. Each show we do all the bookwork, log everything in, and what we do is what we call a P&L, profit and loss.
Which one do you want?
Versus
you tell me, because I have the
last year.
Which one?
And see which way the numbers are trending downward.
And those are all Katie couples we had up there.
Can you take one out and turn it around?
Sure.
We see some of the same people all the time, which are customers. We have a lot of laughs, kills the day, trying to generate some income coming in. If we get lucky, we do. Most of the time, we do. The old timers, we like the steam engines, but the new kids, we like the new diesels because they have multiple sounds and they're multiple colors and they gravitate to them.
I think it's the clubs that have to do that. The clubs that have the displays, they're the ones that's key to that. And it's hard to do, I'm sure, because there's so much competition for the kids' times. But I think once you get them hooked in and get them active in it, there are some clubs here with some younger groups, younger kids in it, but it's difficult. It's more and more difficult every year, I'm sure.
Bedford boomer modeler Bill Trujillo came up with a successful alternative to attract new model railroaders.
By the way, that O scale down there is also part of our group. That Lionel,
Yeah.
that's part of our group.
Okay, that's
They're
That's
O
part of the
scalers.
boomers, so
They're
that's-
part of the boomers, and sometimes they're the only ones that set up. Sometimes we both set up. In November, we go to the local Bedford Library, and we set up the Lionel, and on the floor we have G scale for the kids to play with. Never charge. It's in a public library, and we just do it for the weekend, Model Railroad Month, weekend before Thanksgiving, just to run trains and let people see what the hobby's about. The object is to show the people the hobby, not to take them to talk, worry about dealers and this kind of stuff. We get 300 to 400 people come out on Saturday and Sunday in a public library to look at our trains.
that's a good turnout.
So there's a
for
good
something.
turnout, and again, no money. And we have, we'll sit in a room, and if people want to sit and ask us, how do you get started? How do you do this? Where do you buy that? We just sit and talk with them. So the object is to expose without forcing.
Right.
You know, that's what it is. Get the kids into it, bring them in here, let them see the operating layouts.
So we actually would have a place for people to come in and sit down and just ask questions. We used to take 2 classrooms just to let the kids play with the trains. Put them on the floor, let the kids just run and play with trains.
And if they gravitate from there, bring them to a show, and see if they like what they see. It's always good to bring them to see the operating layouts. And hopefully from then on, they'll come in and be customers. We'll see.
Kids would cry they didn't want to leave the room.
Yeah, I've been there.
Okay. So that was, we tried to maintain, enjoy the hobby, but maintain it on a low key to the new people. The Model Railroad Association is always asking, how do we get people involved? Shows like this are fine, but the average person doesn't go to it. But they'll go to a library just for a display to find out what it's about. And you don't sell them anything. You just talk to them about the hobby and the enjoyment of it. That's the difference.
Do you find people might be intimidated, like the new people who would love to build something but are intimidated because when they see something so prototypical that they'll never get as close
Well, they
as that?
expect they would expect to be able to do this overnight, and you can't. And so that's why in the library we just sit and talk with people and let them run the trains and play with them. Again, you have to get people the interest to get started without intimidating them and how going. Yes, they are very much so. Yeah. So that's how we've been living for well, it's 37 years now. No, just having fun.
Even at such a very, very small show, maybe 10 or 11 displays of presenters, I realized that there is never a show that is too small to find your item. Here at the Kentucket Model Railroad Show in Kentucket, New Hampshire, modeler Wayne has on display this amazing replica of the North Conway, New Hampshire Scenic Railroad Depot. And these are my treasures from the show. For less than $30, I was able to create a livestock feed facility at my Hildreth, New York section of my train layout. This is my second year at the Great Falls Model Railroad Show at Mount Ararat High School in Thompson, Maine. And there's the Seacoast Division of the National Model Railroad Association, a consistent mainstay at so many shows up in Maine. This club always puts on a good show. This is Chuck and his band of modelers of the Southern Maine Model Railroad Club.
Yeah, so essentially, bringing together the wealth of knowledge, the resources. Again, it's not so much of like, here's a bunch of stuff for sale, right? I mean, that's part of it for sure. There's people that are coming here trying to buy things, get good deals on different things. But a big aspect of it is just inspiration and exchanging ideas and solutions to problems and things that you're working on. And the hobby, the way it is today, is a lot of microelectronics, a lot of computer programming, a lot of these sort of traits that you may not have had, 30 years ago even. So you kind of have another level to it where you've got to determine, like, how do I want to add lights to a building or do something, right? And it sounds pretty easy, but it may not be so straightforward. So just being able to talk to people and ask questions and say, how did you do this? How did you do that? And just kind of getting the inspiration or maybe the answer that you couldn't necessarily figure out on your own. It's happened to me personally where I've had projects I've been working on for a while and I kind of get stuck somewhere and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll set this aside and I'll go talk to other people. And this is a great opportunity to just do that, to catch up with people. And even, people that you've known for years, just generally socializing.
So tell me about this layout.
This is probably a culmination of 30, 35 years of starting to accumulate stuff without any idea what I was going to use it for. And then we got a chance to have a layout like this, because I don't have a layout at home. Play with my trains, I have to go to some show. And this is it. I take it out of the boxes, I take it out of at home all I have is a big tent, and it's like a warehouse. I have to go in and grab this, grab that, and depending on what scale I'm going to demonstrate that day is what we take out.
So you specialize in G-scale?
No, G-scale is my personal favorite, but I have a whole slew of O-scale, and that's where I belong to the Maine Three Railers, and that's where we started putting up some of these displays, so I got to use my stuff without necessarily having a layout on my own at home. I'm sort of like a hobo railroader, set up where I can.
Okay.
I do have to do a lot of prep beforehand so that when I show up, because you have limited time to set things up, because you have to do it in sequence. You get the tables, then you get the coverings, then you get track, and then you start doing the decorating with the houses, then you put vehicles on, and then you put trees on, and for the kids, you put the game out so that they can take time to watch the different details, because if they're looking for things on the table, they look at more than just what they're finding. It's interesting. This is the basic layout for the layout here. And that way I can hit the tables, get things going, and in relatively short order, 2 or 3 hours, I can actually have a basic layout. And then I have this, which is the same layout, but it shows where I'm going to place the buildings, because deciding that can take time. And that way I can also, if I do have somebody helping me, I can also give them the drawings and work with that.
Another way to bring out the model railroader? How about these engaging dioramas?
We get together once a month. We call it the Great Falls Modelers Forum. We get together and share modeling ideas. We do a kind of a round table type of a thing. If somebody has a particular idea, like my next meeting, I'm going to present a show or an article on making trees to the group. And we go around and do different ideas, different subjects. And we've been doing these square footer contests where you have a square foot, and nothing can exceed the perimeter of the square foot. And this year we've done a youth group, and then we have a group here that's a group of novice, so to speak, the first time that they've done them. And then we have a couple of us that have done these contests before. So we just had a master group. And it's really just an opportunity to get people to come out and try modeling. You can get a lot of practice in doing details if you're going to build a bigger railroad eventually or something like that. So it works out pretty well, and this is the third time I believe we've done it. We did a square footer, and then we did an outhouse contest. And we had, depending on what scale you went, you could have an end scale, you could have an inch by an inch base, an HO 2x2, and then 4x4 for O scale, and 8x8 for G scale. So it gave everybody a chance to fill out something on their layout. And we do it every once in a while, every year or two, we try to put on a different contest.
How has the outcome been? Has it bringing more people into the hobby? How do you think it's making a difference?
I think especially, there's another group, they call it Spiky Station. It's a group of kids that are real young, and in fact, these 5 models at the end were all done by somebody that they were probably 6 to 8 years old. And so, it encourages younger people to try the hobby and stuff like that. So that's the goal of it, is just to share ideas, actually. There'll be all of us adults and try to get younger kids involved in the program and things like that. So it works out pretty well.
To be on our trips. Don't bother shooting it. Take one.
Another community show comes to an end. Vendors and exhibitors pack and anticipate their next show on their next schedule. Some of my vending items were sold. I got lots of satisfaction meeting new friends and finding that locomotive, car, or structure, electronic, that is coming home. It's been a lot of fun being on the other side of the hobby, whereas now I'm a part-time vendor, and it's paying off more than I ever would imagine. Hey, Dirk.
I hope you did well and you did okay.
Yes.
Okay. All
yes.
right.
Thank you.
You're on my mailing list for next year and beyond. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right.
I'm in. Been a good day.
The big shows are like everybody comes. It's more national. Everybody comes from all over the place. But these little ones are all over the place. Hey guys, you want to move some more stuff? Woohoo! See what I mean? It's like family.
But we've had good publicity in the past, and this year's show appeared to go over very well. So, encourage all of you out there in TV land to come to our show next year. It'll probably be the third weekend in February.
These community model railroad shows are so integral now to bring modelers together by meeting all these people and getting all their insight. I really hope that these shows to continue to stay on, an annual show or maybe twice a year, and maybe that could inspire new model railroaders to engage on their own layout dreams and have invitations for new model railroaders to come over and run operations. You could find shows like these online. Just look up Model Railroad Show, and it's very likely there will be a show, maybe sooner or later, coming near your way.